You know, for a lot of people, algebra looks like this intimidating wall of symbols. It's like a secret code that feels totally impossible to crack. But what if we've been looking at it all wrong? Today, we're going to reframe the whole thing, not as a bunch of problems you have to solve, but as a language you can learn to speak.
Oh, yeah. Remember this feeling? Staring at a page that just looks like a chaotic jumble of X's, Y's, and all these weird symbols? And you just feel completely lost. It's like someone handed you an alien text and said, go on, read it. But I promise you, there's a logic. There's even a kind of beauty hiding in there.
So here's the big idea. Let's stop thinking about algebra as math and start treating it like a language. It's a language specifically designed to describe patterns, relationships, and the very structure of the world around us with incredible precision. And just like with any language, once you get the basics down, you can start building some seriously powerful ideas.
Okay, so where do we begin? Well, every language starts with vocabulary. So let's learn our first word in the language of algebra, the exponent. This thing is a fundamental tool that lets us say a whole lot with very, very little.
At its heart, an exponent is just a super efficient form of shorthand. It's a bit of mathematical laziness, really. Instead of writing out 2 times 2 times 2, you can just write 2 with a little 3 up top. Simple. As you see here, the b is our base number, and that little n is the exponent. It just tells you how many times to multiply the base by itself. It's an incredibly powerful piece of our new vocabulary.
And just like any language, our vocabulary has rules. Think of this as the basic grammar. For instance, and this one seems weird at first, any number to the power of 0 is just 1, always. And a negative exponent, this trips people up all the time. It doesn't mean you get a negative number. Nope. It's an instruction to flip the term into a fraction. And a fractional exponent, like 1/2, that's just a slick way of writing a square root. These are the core rules that tell us how these words behave. Okay, so now we can start forming simple sentences. When you multiply two terms that have the same base, you just add their exponents together. Easy enough. When you divide them, you subtract the exponents. And if you raise a power to another power, you just multiply them. See? It's a simple, really consistent set of rules for combining our new words.
So we have this really powerful tool for repeated multiplication. But in any good system, you've got to have a way to go backwards, to reverse the process. So what's the undo button for an exponent? Well, that's where logarithms come into the picture.
And I think this quote from our source material just nails it. It's the clearest way to think about this. If exponents are like multiplication on steroids, then logarithms are their natural opposite. It's just like how division undoes multiplication or subtraction undoes addition. They exist to answer a very specific question. What exponent do I need to raise this base to get this answer?
And this slide right here shows you the translation perfectly. On the left, we have the sentence, 2 to the power of 3 equals 8. On the right, we have the log base 2 of 8 equals 3. They are saying the exact same thing. Notice how the pieces just get rearranged. The base of the exponent becomes the base of the log. And here's the real key, the big takeaway. The answer to a logarithm is always the exponent. All right, so we've got some vocabulary. Now let's dig into the grammar that holds more complex algebraic sentences together. We call this factoring. And I know, it might feel like a tedious chore from math class, but it's not. It's really the art of deconstruction, of taking a complex expression and breaking it down to understand what it's truly made of.
So why do we even bother with this? What's the point? This slide shows you the whole reason right here. If I say a plus b equals 4, well, there are infinite answers, right? But look what happens if I say a times b equals 0. Something kind of magical happens. Suddenly, there are only two possibilities. Either a has to be 0 or b has to be 0. That's it. Factoring is the tool that turns messy problems with infinite answers into clean multiplication problems we can actually solve. It's a game changer.
And to get this job done, mathematicians have built up this amazing toolbox of techniques over the years. You're looking at some of the classics right here, things you might remember, like the distributive law, the difference of squares, and of course the famous quadratic formula. Each one is like a specialized wrench for breaking a specific type of expression down into its simpler multiplied parts. Okay, this is where it all comes together. We've learned the vocabulary with exponents, we've learned the grammar with factoring. Now it's time to actually use this language to tell stories. And in algebra, those stories are called functions. They're how we describe the relationships between, well, pretty much everything in our world. So what is a function? It's basically a rule that describes a predictable relationship. For any single input you give it, we usually call that x, it will give you back exactly one output, which we call y. Think of it like a super reliable machine. You put something in, and you know exactly what you're going to get out every single time. And it's that predictability that makes functions so incredibly useful for describing how the world works.
And this is the magic of the language. This is where it all clicks. On the left, you see a simple algebraic sentence, y equals cosine of x. On the right, you see the story it tells, this beautiful, elegant repeating wave. That is the power of a function. It connects a few abstract symbols to a real, concrete pattern that can describe everything from sound waves to the AC current coming out of your walls.
So why do we learn this new language? I mean, what's the big deal? Because this isn't just some abstract exercise for a math class. This language, the language of algebra, is written into the very fabric of our modern world. It's time to zoom out and see where it shows up.
Every single time you check a financial forecast, or run a piece of software on your computer, or even play a video game, you are interacting with algebra. The very concepts we just talked about, exponents, factoring, functions, they are the hidden engine behind the code that runs our technology, the engineering that builds our cities, and the science that helps us make sense of the universe.
So I'm going to leave you with this final thought. Now that you can recognize some of the vocabulary and the grammar, you might start to see it, well, everywhere, from the perfect arc of a thrown ball to the way your savings account grows over time. What relationships, what patterns in your life can be described by this secret language?